That was all the time Amaka had to live the fairy tale of a newlywed. 3 months of laughter, kisses before work, and late-night pillow talk where dreams were built. Her husband, Somto, had landed the contract of a lifetime, an international oil deal in Dubai. It was huge, life-changing. He tried to process her visa, but you know how immigration can be in this part of the world. Paperwork delays, endless appointments. So he had to leave alone. Before he left, Amaka had only one request. "Please," she whispered one evening, lying on his chest, "let my sister Aid stay with me. You know your mom and Uju don't like me." Between loyalty and logic. "Babe, they're my blood. They promised to take care of you." She looked him dead in the eyes. "And that's what I'm afraid of." Still, the next morning Somto went to his family house. He tried to gently explain Amaka's preference, hoping they'd understand. But Mama Somto, that woman, arched her brows so high you'd think her forehead was trying to touch heaven, she said. "What?" she snapped. "So I, her husband's mother, am now a threat to her? She wants her own sister so she can be sneaking men into my son's house, Abi?" Uju, the younger sister, that one always ready with a smirk, chimed in. Maybe that's how she trapped Somto in the first place. Those ones with sweet tongues and small waists. From that day, it wasn't just about staying with Amaka. It was a silent mission. Amaka heard the knock. Not one. 3 fast taps, like soldiers reporting for duty. 3 fast taps, like soldiers reporting for duty. She opened the door. "Mama, Somto." "No, how are you?" Amaka smiled awkwardly. "Mommy, good evening." "Spare me. Where's the room?" She pointed. That was the beginning of war. Uju using Amaka's face cream, then her perfumes. One day she wore her clothes. "Uju, please, next time ask before you—" "Ask who? Your father's house clothes? You married into wealth now and you're counting clothes?" Mama would cook and tell Amaka, "You're too slow. No wonder you haven't carried Belle yet." But Amaka was pregnant. She found out one quiet Saturday morning and cried in the bathroom, tears of joy and fear. She told Somto during their late-night WhatsApp call. He cried too. They prayed. He promised to come back the moment her visa cleared. But joy is fragile in a house full of snakes. Mama insisted Amaka pound yam, even after she said she felt dizzy. Uju mocked her cravings. "She's faking. She's pretending to be pregnant, so she won't cook." That fateful Thursday, Amaka fainted in the kitchen. She woke up in the hospital. No baby. The doctor said she fell, hit her side hard. Internal bleeding. When Somto called, Mama cried louder than the ambulance. She was shouting at me, "Oh!" I told her to rest, but she charged at me like a mad dog. Before I could say Jesus, she slipped and fell. Uju added fuel. "Brother, she was angry we didn't let her sneak out to see some man. Maybe the pregnancy wasn't even yours." Somto didn't know what to think. Amaka, bruised and broken, stared at her phone for hours waiting for his call. It didn't come that night, or the next, but what Mama didn't know. Before leaving, Somto had installed a hidden nanny Amaka at 3 a.m. her time. "Baby, I'm sorry. I saw everything." Tears ran down, her face like a broken tap. He continued, voice shaking with rage. "Don't say anything, don't do anything, I'm coming home." The screen went black. Amaka stared at the phone. Then, a knock. 3 taps again, but this time, when she opened the door, Mama wasn't smiling, and Uju was holding her phone. "Who are you talking to at this hour?" Mama asked coldly. Uju leaned in. "Hope it's not one of your midnight boyfriends." Again, Amaka stood tall. Taller than her pain, she smiled. "You'll see." The morning after the 3 a.m. call, Amaka was no longer the same. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't crying. She was too calm. She got up early, cleaned the entire house, made breakfast, and set the table. Uju looked suspicious. "This one, you're forming perfect housewife today." Mama Somto sniffed the stew. "Hope you didn't poison this food, oh. You this husband snatcher." Amaka smiled. "Eat and find out." 4 days later, a silver SUV rolled quietly into the estate. Somto stepped out, dressed in black, face cold, eyes tired. His heart was beating hard, not from jet lag, but fury. He had watched more clips from the hidden camera, footage of his wife vomiting blood, footage of his mother praying that she would die or run mad so Somto can marry a real wife. He didn't call anyone, he didn't want a welcome party, he wanted the truth. That afternoon, Mama Somto was on the couch, watching Africa Magic, her legs up like she owned the house. Uju was on TikTok, making dance videos in Amaka's boo-boo. Then, the door opened. Somto walked in. Time froze. Mama slowly stood up. "Ah, my son, what a surprise. You didn't tell us. Where's Amaka?" His voice was sharp, cutting. Uju stammered. She went to market." Amaka stepped out of the kitchen holding a tray of jollof rice. She paused when she saw him. Their eyes locked, then tears. She dropped the tray and ran to him. Somto held her like he was holding a fragile treasure, because she was. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I didn't protect you." They all sat in the living room. Amaka quiet. Somto stone-faced. Mama fidgeting. Uju chewing invisible gum. Somto pulled out his laptop, clicked play, silence. Then, hell broke loose. "Mama na editing. They edited this thing." Somto said nothing, just watched. He watched his mother slap Amaka, watched Uju pour salt in her bathwater, watched his wife curl up, clutching her, belly screaming for him moved. When the video ended, the room was quiet again. Somto turned slowly to his mother. "Mommy, you caused my baby's death." Mama's mouth opened, but no words came. By evening, Pastor Ikena had arrived. Somto called him, not for prayers, but for witness. "I want peace," he told the pastor, "but truth must be said, loudly." They all gathered, family members, neighbors, elders, and then the bombshell. Amaka stood and spoke everything. How Mama would turn off the heater during cold nights. How Uju once locked her outside at midnight and said she was doing rounds. How they told neighbors she was barren before the miscarriage even happened. The pastor's eyes watered. "Mama Somto, this is beyond wickedness. This is witchcraft in daylight. Just when you think the story has peaked, something unexpected drops." Amaka stands up to go to the restroom. Uju quickly picks up her phone and starts texting. But Somto had already cloned her number. He reads everything on his own phone. "She doesn't know yet. We should finish what we started. Meet me tonight at that same place." He shows the message to the pastor. The pastor reads it, looks at Uju. "Uju, what are you planning to finish?" Uju stands. "It's not me. It's my friend's phone. Your friend's number is saved on your phone as me. Nice try. Knock, knock." Not 3 taps this time. 4 strong knocks. With authority, 2 officers walk in. "Are you Mrs. Uju Naji?" "Yes." "No, I mean, why?" "You're under investigation for attempted assault, false accusation, and conspiracy to cause harm." Mama Somto jumps up. "You're arresting my daughter? Do you know who I am?" The second officer calmly responds. "Do you know who sent us?" He points at Somto. "This man." That night, Amaka sits in her room alone. No makeup, no smiles. Just peace. Somto enters. "Pack your things, baby. We're moving. I found a better house." She looks up. "What about them?" He shrugs. "Let them stay here. With their ghost." The house was quiet. Not peaceful. Just still. Mama Somto sat alone in the living room, Bible on her lap, prayer beads in hand, but her mind was elsewhere. She kept replaying the scene from last night, the humiliation, the arrest, her own son, choosing a woman he barely knew over the womb that bore him. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Chukwu, fight for me. Expose this girl. She must fall. She must fall. But sometimes, when you pray for someone to fall, God may decide to test you instead." 2 days later, a small brown envelope arrived at Somto and Amaka's new residence. No return address. Just their names. Inside, printed photos, dozens of them, Amaka, smiling, laughing, shopping, with a man, tall, fair, well-dressed, pictures from different days. A letter came with it. "Your wife has been lying to you. This is who she really sees when you're gone." Somto stared at the pictures, then at Amaka, then back at the pictures. "Do you know this man?" he asked softly. Amaka took the photos, brows furrowing, her mouth open to speak. Then her phone rang. She looked at the screen. Unknown number. She picked. "Hello?" A distorted voice on the other end. "You think you've won? Wait." Click. 2 weeks ago, Uju, before her arrest, had secretly hired someone, not to hurt Amaka, but to follow her. Snap photos, stage scenes. One of the pictures, the stranger was actually Amaka's cousin, Chinedu, from her late father's side. She hadn't seen him in 8 years. They met by coincidence, had lunch to catch up, laughed about old family tales. But Uju made sure to pay the camera guy to get the perfect angles. Angles that screamed cheating. That night, Amaka sat on the floor. "Somto, I swear on my life, I don't know who did this. That's my cousin. His name is Chinedu. Ask my mother, ask my uncle." But Somto was silent, still, expression unreadable. She reached for his hand. "Please, believe me." He looked at her. "I want to, but I don't know who to trust anymore." Then he walked out, left her there, alone, again. Meanwhile, back at the family house, Mama Somto was seated with a man, tall, slim, eyes like razors. Prophet, also they called him. She placed a bundle of naira on the table. "I want the truth. I want to know who this girl is, where she came from, and how she trapped my son." The prophet smiled. He pulled out a dirty mirror from a leather pouch. "You don't need truth, you need revelation. And once I open this mirror, nothing can be hidden." Mama Somto nodded, smiling. But she didn't know that some mirrors show more than you bargain for. In their room, Somto couldn't sleep. He tossed, turned. Then he opened his laptop again, went through old footage, paused, zoomed. There in the corner of a clip from 2 weeks ago was the same man from the photos, approaching Amaka. But behind him, blurred, just barely visible, was Uju, wearing sunglasses, holding a phone. She was watching, recording, and smirking. Somto blinked. Jesus! He grabbed his phone and called Amaka. She didn't answer. The next morning, Somto returned to the house. Front door open, lights off, no sign of struggle. But Amaka was gone. On the floor? Her phone, cracked screen, still on, still ringing. Picked it up. A new message notification blinked. "You said she won. Let's see how she handles round 2. Somto's heart dropped. He called the police. He called Pastor Ikena. He called Amaka's sister. No one knew where she was. Somewhere in an uncompleted building on the outskirts of town. Amaka lay on a mattress, blindfolded, mouth taped, but alive. 2 women stood over her, one short and loud, the other tall, slim, with a familiar smirk. "Uju, you thought this was over," she whispered. "You thought love would save you? My dear, the story just began." Amaka's eyes widened in horror. The air was damp. Dust hung in the air like suspicion. Emaka's hands were tied, ankles too. She could barely move, but her ears worked, and from the corner of the room she heard Uju's voice. We just need her to confess. Record it. Whether it's true or not, once brother hears it from her mouth, it's over. The short woman beside her cackled. And when he dumps her, what next? Uju smiled. Simple. We bring in Ngozi, our childhood friend. She's been eyeing Somto since university. This time, she'll finish what we started. Back in the city, Somto was in his car, sweating, racing through traffic. Pastor Ikenna sat beside him, praying out loud. She must be found in Jesus' name. No evil shall prevail. Lord, expose every hidden plan. Then Somto's phone pinged. An unknown contact dropped a voice note. He clicked play, and there it was. Uju's voice, crystal clear, recorded secretly. Once we get her voice saying she cheated or trapped him with pregnancy, game over. Mama will now bring Ngozi. I'm tired of this village girl pretending to be queen of our family. Somto hit the brakes so hard the car spun. Pastor Ikenna placed a call. A favor. To someone he helped years ago. An officer. Not your regular type. One who worked off the books. We need to track this number. Now. Someone's life is in danger. Within minutes, they had a location ping. Somewhere on the outskirts, around a warehouse area. Somto didn't wait for backup. He drove like the car owed him blood. Meanwhile, Uju walked back into the room holding her phone. She kneeled beside Amaka, now weak and dizzy. Listen, dear sister-in-law, just confess. Say it. Say you trapped my brother. Say you're a cheat. She pressed record. Amaka, through cracked lips, whispered, I, then stopped. She looked up at Uju with fire in her eyes. You'll never break me. Uju slapped her. Wrong answer! The short woman stepped forward, raising her hand to strike. When suddenly, bang! The door burst open. Somto stormed in. Behind him, 2 officers. Uju screamed. The short woman ran but was tackled. Somto ran to Amaka, cut her ropes with a pocket knife, and carried her. Baby, I'm here. You're safe now. I swear they'll never touch you again, Amaka cried. But they weren't tears of pain anymore. They were relief. Freedom. Uju tried to explain. Brother, wait, let me, But Pastor Ikenna stepped forward with the audio clip playing on loudspeaker. The entire building echoed with her words. Somto didn't even look at her. Take them, he said to the police. And Uju's empire of lies crumbled. Back home, Mama Somto was on her knees again, burning ends, muttering psalms. Then her phone rang. She picked. It was Uju, Amhi. They arrested me. She froze. What? Arrested for what? I can't explain. Just call Barrister Kalu. Then the line cut. Mama Somto slowly stood. Her eyes narrowed. So, this me. She reached for her wrapper and muttered, They've declared war. I will show them what real war looks like. Somto and Amaka sat in the hospital room. Doctors said she'd be fine. Just stress, dehydration, and a few bruises. He held her hand the entire time. I failed you, Amaka. I left you with wolves. She smiled weakly. You came back. That's what matters. He kissed her hand. I'm never leaving you again. Then, his phone buzzed. A message. Your mother just filed a lawsuit against your wife for witchcraft, psychological damage, and family manipulation. Somto stared at the screen and laughed. Not a funny laugh. A tired one. Like a man who just realized his battle was only just beginning. Mama Somto at a press conference. Flashbulbs popping. Reporters shouting. She wore all white. Held a Bible. Standing beside her, a prophet, and Ngozi, the replacement wife, smiling beside her like a lioness who smelled blood. My son has been spiritually tied by a woman sent to destroy our legacy. But I have fasted, I have seen visions, and I will not rest until the chain is broken. Cameras flashed, but one reporter leaned in and whispered to another, "This is starting to look like a Nollywood crime series." They both chuckled, but behind them, a motor car with dark shades and a plan. Amaka had stayed quiet long enough. After the hospital, she didn't rest. She made moves. Behind the scenes, she hired a lawyer, a good one. Barrister Nkem, young, brilliant, and fearless. She also contacted the Women's Advocacy Network, and before long, they started digging into the harassment, the fake accusations, and the miscarriage caused by domestic abuse. What started as whispers in private rooms soon became headlines. Wife of billionaire contract engineer speaks out. I was tortured by my husband's family. Wife suffers miscarriage after alleged assault by mother-in-law and goes to court, and Mama Somto. Suddenly, all her church friends stopped answering her calls. Even her beloved prophet was arrested for fraud. It was standing room only. On one side, Amaka, dressed in black, calm, eyes cold. Somto by her side, silent but present, loyal. On the other side, Mama Somto, Uju in handcuffs, and Ngozi sitting, awkwardly like a spare wheel nobody asked for. The courtroom was tense. Uju pleaded guilty. She confessed everything. The fake photos, the staged scenes, the threats, the kidnapping. When the judge turned to Mama Somto, "Do you still deny having any part in the abuse of your daughter-in-law?" Mama raised her chin. "I did what any mother would do. I protected my son." The courtroom gasped. The judge stared at her. "Madam, you destroyed your son's marriage, his peace, and nearly his unborn child. This is not protection. This is wickedness." Then came the sentence. Uju, 4 years in prison. Mama Somto, restraining order, court-mandated therapy, and a public apology or face contempt charges. It was televised across Nigeria. Mama Somto stood behind a podium, cameras, flashlights, journalists. She cleared her throat. "I, Mrs. Rosalind Okafor, apologize to my daughter-in-law, Amaka. My behavior was unjust. My actions caused her harm. I ask for her forgiveness." She didn't cry. But when she returned home that night, alone and disgraced, she wept. 1 year later, Amaka and Somto relocated to Canada. The contract Somto signed matured. He was now a regional director. And Amaka? She launched a foundation for abused women, named it the 3 Months Hope Project. They bought a quiet house by the lake. Amaka started painting again, laughing again. Then, one bright afternoon, she sat with Somto, hands resting on her stomach. "It's a girl," she said softly. He smiled. "We'll call her Victory." Final scene, Mama Somto's redemption, maybe back in Nigeria. Mama Somto sat alone on her balcony, older, quieter. She now worked as a church volunteer. She hadn't seen Somto in nearly a year, but every month she got pictures of her granddaughter, and every time she held the photo, she whispered, "One day, maybe she'll forgive me too."
This is a story of 3 identical sisters. In the heart of a bustling city, nestled between dimly lit streets and neon lights, stood the Blue Moon Bar. It was a place where souls sought solace in music, and none captivated the crowd like the Harmonia sisters, Celeste, Leora, and Vivian. Born triplets, they were a rare sight to behold, sharing the same enchanting features, raven black hair, piercing green eyes, and a melodic voice that could make even the coldest heart melt. Despite their striking resemblance, the sisters were as different as night and day in their personalities. Celeste, the eldest by mere minutes, was the ambitious one, always striving for more. Leora, the middle sister, was the gentle soul, content with their humble life. And Vivian, the youngest, was the wild spirit, always pushing boundaries, always craving the thrill of the unknown. Every night they sang in harmony, weaving magic with their voices. Yet behind the stage curtains, a storm brewed. The competition among them was fierce, for each sister secretly wished to outshine the other. Their mother, a former singer who had long faded into obscurity, had drilled into them that only the best survived in the world of music. Antics, often causing concern for those who loved her. One fateful evening, a renowned talent scout, Richard Langley, entered the Blue Moon. His presence sent a ripple of excitement through the crowd. When the sisters took the stage, they knew this was their moment to shine. Their voices intertwined in perfect harmony. Yet Celeste subtly raised her volume, attempting to take the lead. Leora, sensing the shift, tried to balance it, while Vivian, unwilling to be overshadowed, matched Celeste's intensity. Their once fluid performance became a battle of vocal prowess. The performance was breathtaking, but Langley had only one offer to make her solo contract. "You're all incredibly talented, but I'm looking for a solo act," he announced after their performance. "The industry doesn't need a trio. It needs a singular sensation. Think it over. I'll be back tomorrow night." And with that, he left, leaving a thick silence between the sisters. That night, Celeste and Vivian lay awake, their minds racing with possibilities. Leora, on the other hand, felt a deep sadness, knowing that this offer could break them apart. As the next day dawned, an unspoken tension loomed over the sisters. Celeste was the first to voice her ambition. "I should take the contract," she said confidently. "I've always led our performances. You both know it." Vivian scoffed. "Excuse me. I'm the one with the most stage presence. Solo, it's me." Leora looked between them, hurt flashing in her eyes. "What about staying together? We've always been stronger as a trio. Maybe you've always been comfortable in the background. But some of us want more," Celeste retorted. The argument escalated, emotions running high. That night, as they took the stage once more, the magic of their harmony was gone. Celeste and Vivian tried to overpower each other, throwing the performance into discord. Leora, struggling to keep up, faltered. The audience sensed the tension, their applause hesitant and confused. Backstage, the sisters' heated words turned to physical confrontation. "You ruined everything." Vivian accused Celeste, shoving her. "You're just jealous." Celeste shot back. "Enough." Leora shouted, tears streaming down her face. "We've let our own greed destroy us." But it was too late. The damage had been done. Langley witnessed their collapse and withdrew his offer. "I wanted a star, not a storm of chaos," he said before walking away. Their fallout was swift. Celeste left the group first, trying to make it on her own, only to find the industry harsher than she had imagined. Vivian followed, but without the backing of her sisters. She too struggled. Leora, heartbroken, remained at the Blue Moon Bar, singing alone. As time passed, Celeste found herself singing in small venues, her once bright future dimming under the weight of loneliness. Vivian fell into a downward spiral, using alcohol and reckless behavior to cope with her failing career. Leora, despite her heartbreak, dedicated herself to the bar and nurtured young talents who reminded her of the trio they once were. The years dragged on, each sister walking a lonely road. Celeste started working behind the scenes in music production, hiding her bruised ego behind a mixing board. Vivian drifted from bar to bar, singing on good nights and drowning herself in regret on bad ones. Leora, however, refused to let the past define her, though she carried a longing ache every time she looked at the empty microphone stand where her sisters once stood beside her. Fate had other plans. The Blue Moon Bar was set to close. Unable to sustain itself amid the changing tides of the entertainment industry, the bar owner, an old friend of their late mother, reached out to Leora, suggesting one final grand show to honor the venue's history. Leora agreed, and in a moment of boldness, she sent invitations to Celeste and Vivian. Neither responded. The night of the show arrived, and as Leora took the stage, she felt the weight of their absence pressing against her heart. But as she opened her mouth to sing, a familiar harmony joined her. Celeste stepped onto the stage, eyes glistening with unshed tears. Moments later, Vivian followed. Hesitant but willing, the three sisters faced each other, and for the first time in years, they understood they had never truly been completely apart. Their voices soared through the air, weaving a melody of pain, loss, and ultimately forgiveness. The audience held their breath, witnessing something greater than just a performance. It was a reunion of souls long lost. The final note faded. Replaced by thunderous applause, the sisters embraced, knowing this was their second chance. Not at fame, but at each other. Moral of the story: true harmony is not just in melody, but in the love that binds us. Success means little when the cost is losing those who once stood beside us. Family, despite its trials and fractures.
I thought I was the breadwinner. I didn't know I was the bread they were about to eat. Poverty makes you creative. Some people pray, home empty-handed. My father's silence grew heavier, like he was mourning me while I was still breathing. So I entered the game. Yahoo, wire, format loading, sweet mouth for clients, romance scams, package. At first it was small, a $500 gift card here. A small iTunes hustle there, nothing big, just enough to buy better food, pay the light bill, fix the leaking roof. My family didn't ask where the money came from. They praised me. Our son has found favor. You are our Joseph. You are the one that will lift this family. I believed them, and so I worked harder. 3 years in, I leveled up. No more $500 gift card. I was closing big fish now, lonely rich widows, divorced sugar mamas. Money poured in like rain. I bought my father a motorcycle. I paid my mother's hospital bills. I sent my siblings to private schools. I even started saving for land. A house of our own away from the leaking ceilings, the moldy walls, the shame. I was the breadwinner, the golden goose. Or so I thought. Then came December. My uncle called from the village. We must celebrate you! You have brought honor to our name. We must throw a big party. They planned it all, a Thanksgiving ceremony, a feast, a special family cleansing prayer to secure my blessings. It sounded strange, but love can blind you, and I loved them. Blindly. The night before the cleansing, I was housed in my uncle's compound, big house, freshly painted, filled with the smell of pepper soup and palm wine. Family I hadn't seen in years hugged me. Cousins grinned at me. Baba Ijebu. Bala. Big. Man. I felt proud. For the first time in my life, I felt seen. At midnight, they woke me up. My mother stood by the door, face unreadable. Come, my son. It is time. Still half asleep, I followed them outside. The air was cold. The moon hid behind thick clouds. They led me deep into the bush behind the compound. There, in a clearing lit only by burning torches, I saw them. My father, my mother, my uncle, my siblings, some elders, all wearing white, all chanting something, low and rhythmic. Confused, I turned to my mother. Mama, what's happening? She didn't answer. She just smiled, tight, sad, like a woman who loved her son but loved survival more. The oldest elder stepped forward, face wrinkled like old yam, eyes sharp like cutlass. He held a small, sharp knife glinting in the firelight. "You have fed them," he said. "Now it is time for you to feed them fully." I froze. The realization hit me slower than the cold creeping into my bones. I wasn't the guest of honor, I was the sacrifice. The breadwinner, the bread, about to be eaten. I stumbled backward. "Papa? Mama? What is this?" My father looked away. My mother cried, but didn't move. The elders closed in. The chanting grew louder. The shadows danced closer. The knife gleamed brighter. I ran. I didn't wait to hear the rest of the ritual. I didn't wait to see whose hand would draw my blood. I ran through the bush, tearing through thorns and branches, bare feet pounding against rough earth. I ran like my life depended on it, because it did. Behind me I heard them. Shouts. Footsteps. The chanting still in the air, chasing me like a curse. My own family. The ones I bled for. The ones I fed. The ones who would rather eat me alive than lose their second chance at prosperity. I ran until my lungs burned, until the thorns shredded my skin, until the soles of my feet felt like they were peeling off. But I didn't stop, because stopping meant death. Stopping meant giving them what they wanted: my blood, my soul. The village wasn't safe anymore. Not the roads, not the forests, not even the people. Because when your own family decides you're better dead than alive, the whole village becomes one giant hunting ground. At dawn, I collapsed by a dry riverbed, gasping for air, body trembling. I looked back toward the village. Smoke rose from the trees. The faint sound of drums echoed in the morning air. They weren't mourning me. They were celebrating. Because they believed the sacrifice had been made. They believed I was already gone, but I was alive, bruised, bleeding, but alive, and now I had to disappear. I stumbled into the next town, covering myself with a dirty jacket I found hanging on a fence. I needed help, money, safety. But more than that, I needed revenge. Because something inside me had snapped that night. Something that wasn't going to heal with time. I found a cheap cybercafe hidden between two abandoned buildings. Inside, broken fans whirred lazily. A handful of boys with cracked laptops hunched over keyboards. The owner, an old man with grey beards and tribal marks, looked at me once, then looked away. Smart man. In Nigeria, you mind your business, or you die. Curious, I paid for time with my last N500, logged in, and went back to what I knew best, Yahoo. But this time, I wasn't looking for lonely widows or sugar mamas. I was looking for something else: power. The kind of power that couldn't be taken by knives and chance. The kind of power you only find in the darkest corners of the internet. I dove deep. Past the fake loan scams. Past the romance bait sites, into the underbelly of Yahoo, the forbidden networks only whispered about. There I found it. A forum called the Red Market, a place where real spiritual hackers operated, where men sold not just fake documents, but curses, digital hexes, spiritual firewalls, protection money could never buy. I posted one message: family betrayal, need full lock protection, price, no matter. 5 minutes later, a private message popped up. Username, Midnight Crawler. You survived a blood call. That means you are marked. I can help, but it will cost you more than money. No. My heart whispered yes. Because one thing was certain: if not today, then tomorrow, or next week, or next year. Because once you escape a sacrifice, you don't get to live normal again. They will keep hunting, until either you are dead, or they are. I typed 2 words. I'm ready. The cafe around me buzzed with the dying hum of old computers. But on my screen, the world had already changed. Midnight Crawler sent the next message. Location? I typed fast, fingers shaking. Near Eka Ukwu Market, abandoned warehouse. Alone. Good. Stay there. The spirits are already tracking you. I didn't know if it was paranoia or real, but the air suddenly felt heavier, like 1,000 unseen hands were reaching for me. The screen flickered. Static danced across the monitor. Then a final message appeared. This will hurt. Before I could blink, the room spun. The computer lights melted into black and red blurs, my ears filled with a sound like cracking bones and howling wind. And somewhere deep in that madness, I felt it. Something entered me. Not possession, not madness. A binding. I woke up on the dirty cafe floor minutes later. Alone, but different. I could feel them now. The ones that wanted my blood. The elders. My own father. My mother. Their greed floated in the air like smoke. Their betrayal vibrated against my skin like static electricity. And now, I could touch it, bend it, twist it. I stood up slowly, my shadow stretching long and thin across the broken tiled floor. I wasn't just running anymore, I was hunting too. Later that night, Midnight Crawler sent the final instructions. Go. Back. They are preparing a second sacrifice, but this time, you will be the hunter, not the goat. Back to the village. Back to the same dusty streets. Back to the same faces that used to kiss my feet and now sharpened knives behind their smiles. I didn't go in like a fool. No. I entered quietly. Through the bush. Through the back paths. Only hunters and witches used. The moon above was blood red, a bad omen for them, a good one for me. As I approached the clearing, I saw them, the elders, my father, my mother, my uncle, all dressed in white again, chanting, waiting. Another fire burned in the center of the circle. Beside it, tied up struggling, was my younger brother. My heart stopped. He was screaming. In through a cloth gag, eyes wild, tears streaming, they were sacrificing him. Because the first plan failed, and money must still flow. I stepped into the clearing, calm, cold, changed. The chanting faltered when they saw me. My father gasped. My uncle stumbled back. The eldest elder dropped his staff. Impossible, someone whispered. He was supposed to be dead. I smiled, but it wasn't my usual smile. It was something that had clawed its way out of betrayal and fire. I raised my hand. The air twisted. The fire shrank away. The torches flickered and died. The ground itself groaned. The spirits that once chased me now circled them, hungry, angry, waiting for my command. My voice came out low, rough, almost inhuman. You wanted blood. I stepped forward. You wanted a sacrifice. Another step. You forgot that blood can choose its vengeance. They dropped to their knees, begging, tears, snot, wailing. My son, forgive. It was the devil. We were deceived. I looked at my younger brother, still struggling, still crying. I remembered the nights I slept hungry so he could eat. I remembered the years I broke my back just to pay his school fees. And they had repaid me with betrayal, with a knife aimed at my... And now I had a knife too, but mine was spiritual and sharper. The elders knelt before me, shaking like children caught stealing. The same men who once held machetes and chants, who raised goats and sprinkled blood, were now whispering prayers with cracked voices. My son, forgive. Don't let the spirits take us. You are not like us, but they were wrong. I wasn't like them anymore. I was worse, because I had learned betrayal from the best, from the ones who called me savior with one mouth and whispered my death with the other. I raised my hand again. The spirits circled faster, a whirlwind of shadows and cold bent inward. The fire dimmed to blue, and the earth began to dimmed to blue, and the earth began to split. A shallow crack opened, a hungry one. Choose, the spirit whispered in my ear. Its voice was dry, ancient, like dust scraped across bone. They gave you, we returned you. Now you must pay balance. Balance, that was the word they used. Not justice, not revenge, balance. And balance meant blood for blood. I looked at my father, the man who sat silent while they prepared me for death. He wouldn't meet my eyes. He wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at my uncle, the one who suggested the... I looked at my uncle, the one who suggested the cleansing. He was mumbling to himself. And then I looked at my mother. She was crying the hardest, not just out of fear, but guilt. Weren't for herself. They were for me. And for my brother, still tied to the tree, too shocked to move. The spirits surged. Give or take. You must finish the circle. I stepped forward. They screamed louder. Some tried to run. The spirits blocked them. No escape. Not tonight. But I didn't lift my hand to strike. I dropped the black feather charm in my palm, the one midnight crawler gave me. It hit the ground and vanished like smoke. The spirits paused, confused. So did the earth, so did the wind. I turned to the shadows and whispered, "Take me instead." A silence fell so thick it felt like the world had stopped spinning. My mother gasped. The elders wailed. Even the spirits seemed stunned. But I spoke louder this time. I broke the covenant when I ran. I defied the punishment fall on. I ran. I defied the punishment fall on me, not my brother, not the boy who still has light in his eyes. The spirits circled slower, then stopped. Suddenly the air cleared. The fire reignited, golden and bright. The pit sealed itself, shut, and in the wind I heard a final whisper. You have passed, you remain, but you do not return unchanged. The spirits were gone. The elders collapsed. The clearing was quiet again. I walked over to my brother, untied him, held him for the first time in years. He cried into my shoulder like he was 5 years old again. And I felt empty, not broken, not whole, just changed. That night I walked away from the village, not running, not hunted, just walking. And behind me I left everything. The family that betrayed me, the darkness that tried to claim me, the spirits that still watched from the trees. Because once you survive the pit, you don't crawl back into it. You climb out, and you never look back. It was supposed to be just a vigil. Nothing special, just one of those night prayers they hold about to end. The kind neighbor invites you to because God fit talk your matter tonight. I didn't plan to go. But NEPA had taken light for 3 days straight, and my rechargeable lamp had died since morning. No TV, no fan, no peace. So when Mama Nkechi knocked on my door at 6:42 p.m., wearing white and holding her Bible like she had just finished fighting one demon, I nodded before she even finished talking. "A crossover vigil," she said. "One night only. You go come back new." "New, Abi," I smiled. Maybe I even needed that. The church no-get signboard. Just one big compound with sand everywhere and a half-finished building in the middle. No windows, just curtains. They called in the Holy Revival Ark. As I entered, one usher with long gown and serious forehead looked at me from head to toe. "Drop your phone for the offering bowl," he said. I froze. "Sorry?" Nothing worldly allowed. Even ring, wristwatch, or chewing gum. Drop em. I chuckled. I thought he was joking, until he pointed to one guy at the back where they sweep floor barefoot. "That one wear earpiece last week, he still they sweep since." Omo. I dropped my phone. Inside was packed. People they pray, they shout, they roll for ground. The air smelled of sweat, anointing oil, and panic. The pastor came out wearing all white, his eyes red like someone who hasn't blinked in days. He looked straight at me. Not the crowd me. "You," he said, voice loud like thunder. "The Lord said you carry secret sin." Everybody turned, even the woman where they cry before paused to look. I almost laugh. "Me? Secret sin? Bro, I no even get data this month, na sin be that?" But something about the way his eyes glowed made my stomach twist. They started the vigil with the chain-breaking prayer, 3 hours, no sitting. Just shout your past sins until you start crying. One guy confessed to stealing meat from pot in 1998. Another woman cried about how she lied to her landlord about school fees. When it reached my turn, I laughed it off and said, "I know too get sin like Una." The pastor smiled, but it wasn't a good smile. "You dey lie," he whispered, "and the walls know. After the final worship, I looked around for the exit. I was tired, hungry, and low-key, ready to go back to my boring, hot room. That's when I noticed something. There was only one door, the same one I came through, but it wasn't there anymore. Instead, there was a different door, wooden, narrow, and carved with symbols I no understand. The usher appeared beside me. "That's your way out," he said. "You're clean now." I stepped forward and opened it and stepped into my room, my exact room. Same broken fan, same bedsheet, same jollof stain on the curtain. But something felt off. There was no sound. Outside, no generator hum, no dogs barking, no Mama Ifeoma shouting at her children next door. Just silence. I turned around. The door was gone, and in its place, written on my wall with what looked like charcoal, was one sentence. "Confess what you refuse to say, or start again." And then the light blinked. The bulb in my room flickered twice, and I heard singing. That same choir from the vigil. But I was in my room. I checked my wall clock. It was 6:42 p.m., the exact time Mama and Kechi had knocked. Then I heard the knock again. "You ready for the vigil?" a voice said from outside. My phone was back in my pocket, the battery full. The same usher now standing outside my door like nothing happened. "Omo, what kind vigil be this?" I no fit lie. My body they sweat, but cold they catch me. I looked around my room again. Everything looked the same, but the air felt heavy, like when rain won't fall but the clouds never open. Then that voice came again, this time from inside my bathroom. "Confess." I jumped. "Hello? Who they there?" No answer, just slow dripping water from the bathroom tap, way I swear I locked since morning. I picked up my phone. Still 6:42 p.m., still full battery, but no network, not even glow bar. I opened WhatsApp. All my chats deleted. Only one contact day for the list now. Holy Revival Arc, and under it the last message read, "You skipped one, the one you buried." CN, I'm not even the deep spiritual type, but this one passed my level. I decided to do the only reasonable thing, run. I grabbed my slippers, opened my door, and boom, I was back inside the church. Same crowd, same sweat, same pastor with red eyes staring at me like I just stole tithe money. But now, everybody was singing one song, low and slow, like mourners. "Talk what?" I screamed. The pastor pointed again. "There is something you did, and until you confess it, you go de loop." My knees got weak. I fell to the floor. "But I no even remember anything," I shouted. The usher from before walked, close and whispered, "Then think well, brother. Sin no day forget face." They dragged me to the front. One spotlight hit me like theater. Everybody else faded into shadows. I could only see the pastor, the mic, and one empty chair in the middle of the altar. They told me to sit. Then, one after the other, people from my past started walking in. First was Amaka. She sat beside me, looking just like the last day I saw her. Tears in her eyes. "You never told anyone what you did," she said. I gasped. "Amaka, but you moved abroad. You're not even..." She vanished. Then came Kunle, my old neighbor, the one that got arrested for stealing, but it wasn't him. "You framed me," he whispered. My chest tightened. I didn't know they'd take it that far. He vanished too. I started crying. For real. Like deep from the soul, crying. "Please," I begged the pastor. "I'm sorry, I want to confess everything. Please, just let me go." The pastor looked at me with pity. "It's not me you're confessing to. The wall is waiting." I turned. To the wall. The same one that had the charcoal writing before. Now it had turned into a mirror, and my reflection was smiling. But I wasn't. Then the mirror cracked. Not shattered, just cracked in a perfect circle. The kind of crack that looks like a door. Behind it I could hear my mum singing softly, that same lullaby she used to sing when I had nightmares. I stood there, staring at my door. The red glow wasn't normal light. It pulsed, like a heartbeat, like something inside the house was alive and waiting. I looked around my compound. Neighbors' houses looked the same, but somehow older. Faded. Walls, rusty gates. Even the mango tree beside my fence looked dried up. I knocked on my own door. Knock, knock. Silence. I turned the handle and entered. The room was pitch dark. Then the bulb came on without NEPA. My heart started to pound. because sitting on my bed was me, but not me now. Younger me. The one with skinny neck and oversized house shirt. He was holding a Bible in one hand and a bloodied envelope in the other. "Sit down," he said, without looking up. I couldn't move. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. "You remember what happened that night after fellowship, with Mummy Doyen's phone?" My chest tightened. "No, not that. Not that memory. I told you not to lie," younger me said. "But you did, and now the lie has grown wings." The mirror on the wall cracked. Again. This time, instead of a reflection, I saw scenes like a film. Me, age 16, alone in the church office, finding that phone, opening things I shouldn't have opened, forwarding things I shouldn't have forwarded. That small mistake had caused one woman to lose her marriage, a scandal, a breakdown. And I had buried it so deep, even I forgot, but the ark didn't forget. I fell to my knees. "God, I beg," I sobbed. "I no even remember how bad it be. I was just a child. I thought it was small. I thought." A loud knock echoed from outside. Again, then a voice. "Are you ready now?" I rushed to the window. This time it wasn't Mama and Kechi, it was my father. But he died 2 years ago. He was wearing the same white clothes from his burial photo. He didn't smile, he just stared. "You must complete the loop," he said, "or the door never closes." Then the wall peeled open. Yes, peeled. Like paper. Behind. It was that same church again, same curtain, same floor. But this time, empty, no members, no pastor. Just rows of old wooden chairs and one big black Bible in the center, open on the pulpit. The wind blew through, but no windows moved. I stepped forward. I had no phone, no slippers, no idea if I was awake or dreaming. But I knew one thing. I had to finish this vigil, even if it killed me. As I touched the Bible, it closed itself, and behind me the door slammed shut. One candle lit up on its own, and a voice whispered, soft but close, "Welcome back. Confession begins now." The candle flickered, then another lit up, and another, until the whole church was glowing with orange flames, but the kind that don't burn. Just watch. Yes. The candles were watching me. Their flames tilted any time I moved, like eyes following my every step. Then the Bible opened itself again. Pages fluttered like it was being blown by a breeze that only it could feel. It stopped on one page. Blank. No chapter. No verse. Just my full name written in red ink. Ifeanyi C. Oathbreaker. My chest tightened. Oathbreaker? Me? When? And that's when I heard my voice. But from the altar. I turned. There I was again, but this time in full white. Face blank. Eyes glowing. I spoke, but not with my mouth. The altar version of me raised his hand, and a loud voice echoed through the church. "You vowed," under breath, with tears, "and still you broke it." Suddenly I remembered age 17, after my mother was sick. I'd prayed and cried and shouted into the night, "God, if you heal her, I swear I go serve you forever. No lies, no games, just you." And he did, but the moment she got better, I started clubbing, ran small Yahoo format, told myself it was just survival. That night, I forgot the vow, but the ark didn't. "You'd carry too many broken promises," the altar version of me said. "That's why the door no go open." Then the walls started moving, not falling, not shaking, just shifting. The benches arranged themselves into a circle around me. In the air, faces began to appear. Some I knew, some I didn't. All of them looked disappointed. All of them whispered, "Say the truth. Own it. Finish what you started." Then the Bible turned into a bowl of water. The voice returned, "Drinks or repeat the loop again." I reached for the bowl. My hands were shaking like NEPA voltage. The water inside wasn't clear. It showed flashes, visions, memories I buried. That girl I lied to just to sleep with her. The fake CV I used to collect someone's internship. The money I found and never returned. The cousin I mocked behind his back but smiled to his face. I couldn't breathe. "I'm sorry," I whispered. The candles blew out. Everything went black. Then I opened my eyes, back in my room again. Normal room, fan working. Light bulb steady. My phone on my table. Buzzing, 6:43 p.m. 1 minute later, I picked the phone. A text message. From an unknown number. Well done. Confession received, but one sin remains. The one you committed in your dreams. My phone powered off, and the door creaked open on its own. Outside was not my compound anymore. It was the church again, but this time, it was upside down. I stood at the door of my room, staring into the upside-down church. Yes, upside down. The pews were hanging from the ceiling like bats. The pulpit was above my head. Candles stood straight, but their flames pointed down, yet somehow, it didn't fall. Gravity didn't care anymore, and neither did I. I took one step forward and my leg rose. Omo, no joke, I was walking up, like saying a spiritual moonwalk. My body was doing backflip I didn't sign up for. By the time now above my head, everything went still. Then came the voice. Soft whisper that always sounded like it was beside me, even when no one was there. Your sin in sleep is the one you fear in waking. Suddenly, the floor beneath my feet turned into glass. I looked down and saw myself, sleeping on my bed, peacefully. Then, the scene started playing like a movie, me tossing and turning. Then I sat up, eyes wide open but still asleep. I stood, walked to my drawer, pulled something out, a piece of paper. Then I opened my wardrobe and... Omo. I froze. There was a journal. One I didn't recognize, hidden between my old school clothes. Watched sleeping me open it and flip to the last page. Operation Burn Everything Plan if caught. It was in my handwriting, but I didn't remember writing that. Then I saw the worst part, a name list. People I hated. Even my own cousin, and next to each name was a word, erased. My heart pounded. No, I never planned this, I never... But the dream version of me kept going. He folded the paper, lit a match, burnt it, then climbed back into bed, smiling. Back in the upside-down church, thunder cracked. Lightning flashed across the walls. The voice returned. You think because you didn't remember, you didn't act. You think sins of the mind don't leave fingerprints? You entered with secrets, you'll leave with scars, or not at all. Suddenly the candles turned black. Not off just black flames. And every flame whispered something I had thought before but never said aloud. I wish he failed. She doesn't deserve that promotion. I'm better than all of them. God, no, go judge me, I'm trying now. Just this one time, na survival. The flames grew louder, echoing those words like chant. My ears rang, I covered my face, and then silence. When I opened my eyes, the church was gone. I was sitting in a chair, a real one this time. Opposite me, on another chair, was a small boy. About 10, barefoot, dusty face. But his eyes were too old for his body. He handed me a mirror. This is who you are when no one is watching. I looked and screamed, because the person in the mirror wasn't me, it was the pastor from the vigil. Red eyes, white robe, tired face. But this time, the reflection spoke. You've been judging others while running from your own judgment. The boy stood up and pointed to a door behind him. My last chance. I could feel it in my bones. If you go through that one, you can wake up, he said. But whatever you leave behind stays behind, forever. I looked at the door, then back, in the mirror, and the pastor in the reflection winked. I no-go lie. My legs no-day stable again. The moment that small, barefoot boy pointed at the door, my heart started to misbehave like generator with bad fuel. The mirror in my hand? Still they show that pastor. But now, he was smiling wider, in bleeding from the eyes. You day close, the boy whispered, but everything you take through that door will haunt you. Unless you pay the price. I turned to him slowly. Which price? He shrugged like saying a pure water matter. Memory, regret, or someone you love. Omo. This was no longer confession. This was transaction. I walked toward the door. It wasn't special, just plain wood, no design, no lock. But the moment I touched it, everything changed. The candles went off, the chair disappeared. And that small boy, he started growing. I kid you not. In front of my eyes, the boy began to stretch, his arms, his legs, his neck. He grew taller, older, darker, until he was towering over me, face hidden in shadow. When he spoke again, his voice was no longer a whisper. Confession earns entry. Sacrifice opens the door. Then he stepped back into the dark and vanished. I turned the handle. The door opened with a sound like thunder rolling through metal. And what I saw inside, Omo na room. My room. Again, but this time everything was reversed. The bed was on the ceiling, my clothes folded backward, my wall clock moving anti-clockwise. The calendar, now still today's date, but 2014. I stepped inside. Boom. I was wearing my old school uniform, stained, white shirt, loose khaki trousers. My phone rang. I looked down. BlackBerry Curve 3. That same one way Ida used to borrow airtime like oxygen. I picked. The voice on the other end was mine. This is your last chance. If you fix what you did in 2014, you'll wake up clean. If not, the Ark will claim your memory forever. I dropped the phone, and the room began to melt. Yes, melt. Walls dripping like hot wax. Floor turning to water. Bed slowly burning, but in reverse. The flames were freezing everything. Then I heard footsteps outside my window. Knock, knock, knock. Bros, you day ready for vigil? It was Mama Nkechi's voice. Again. It's 42 p.m. Again. The end. Loop was closing in. I ran to the door, grabbed the handle, and screamed, I confess everything. I lied, I stole, I hurt people and never looked back. I judged, I forgot God even after He helped me. Suddenly everything stopped. Silence. I was standing in a white room, completely empty. No candles, no clock, just one mirror on the wall. I walked up to it, and for the first time, I saw myself. Just me. Tired. Wounded. But real. Then, behind me, a door creaked open. I turned. Bright light. Voices singing softly. I took a step forward, and as I crossed the threshold, the moment I stepped through that final door, the light swallowed me like floodlight on blackout night. I squeezed my eyes shut, and when I opened them, I was back in church. But not the Holy Revival Ark. This one was different. The air smelled clean. There were no sweat-stained benches, no screaming ushers, no red-eyed pastor. Just soft organ music in the background, and sunlight pouring through stained glass windows like peace in liquid form. A woman in all white walked up to me. Her face was gentle, familiar, too familiar. Mummy? Yes, it was my mother, but younger, healthier. Smiling like she did before the hospital visits took it all, she touched my face. You've gone far, Ifeanyi, but you haven't come back yet. I tried to hug her. She stepped back. Not until you meet the one who sent you. A door opened at the front of the church. Light didn't pour out of this one. Darkness did. Cold, deep, complete. Something moved inside. Something breathing. Something waiting. My mother pointed. Go! I swallowed hard. Who's inside? She looked at me and said just one word. You. I stepped into the dark, and the door closed behind me. No light, no sound, just presence. Then a match struck. One small light, revealing one small bench, and sitting on that bench was me. But not scared me. This was cold me. No emotions, no regrets, just calm. Like somebody we no get anything to lose again. He smiled. Finally, he said, You're here, I stared. Here where? The place you built, he said. Every secret you buried, every truth you twisted, every prayer you faked, every person you used, all of them built this place. I'm not your shadow, I'm not your sin, I'm your realest self. I backed away. No, I've confessed. I've cried. I passed through fire, through loop, I'm clean. He stood up. Clean, and doesn't mean whole. You think confession is enough? But you never asked for forgiveness. Not from them, not from yourself. Then he raised his hand, and around us, floating in the darkness, appeared all the people I hurt, Amaka, Kunle, That girl I ghosted after lies. That cousin I mocked. Even the fake names on the Yahoo formats I used. Their photos, their pain, their voice notes. All there. You want to wake up? Cold me asked. Then let's do it properly. Let's finish it where it started. He reached into the dark and pulled out a Bible and a cutlass, handed both to me. Pick one. One opens your freedom, the other, your judgment. I looked at both. My hand reached for the Bible. But my heart was reaching for the cutlass because part of me didn't just want freedom, it wanted revenge on myself. The Bible in one hand, the cutlass in the other, and my own darker self staring me down like Judgment Day had a face. The silence was loud. I looked at him. This version of me who didn't cry, didn't feel guilt, didn't beg God for mercy. The me that would happily burn the world if it meant hiding the ashes of his sins. Why this choice? I asked. Why give me these two? He shrugged, calm as ever. Because deep down, you still want to cut corners. Confess but not change. Feel bad but not face pain. You still want escape, not transformation. The cutlass felt heavy now, not because of weight, but because it felt like the easier option, Omo. I was tired of loops, tired of confessions, tired of 6:42 p.m. So I dropped the cutlass and clutched the Bible with both hands. Cold me frowned. Eyes narrowed, like he was disappointed. You sure? I nodded. My hands are dirty, I said, but I won't fix that by adding more blood. Then something happened. The ground beneath him began to shake, cracks formed, he stumbled back. Wait, he shouted, you can't just... But I didn't wait. I opened the Bible and began to speak, not shout, speak like someone finally tired of faking. I'm not proud. I've been fake, I've been selfish, I've caused pain, I've worn church clothes with street heart. But I want peace, I want freedom, I want to be whole. For real this time. And with every word I spoke, he began to burn, no flames. Just light, pure, blinding, painful light. He twisted, tried to run. But the light caught up with him.
But you part of the world. Paperwork delays, endless appointments. So he had to leave alone. Before he one request. Please, she whispered one evening lying on his chest. Let my sister Ada stay with me. You know your mom and Uju don't like me. Somto hesitated, torn between loyalty and logic. So I, her husband's mother, am now a threat to her? She wants her own sister so she can be sneaking men into my son's house. Abi? Uju, the younger sister, oh, that one always ready with a smirk, chimed in. Maybe that's how she trapped Somto in the first place. Those ones with sweet tongues and small waists. From that day, it wasn't just about staying with Amaka. It was a silent mission. Amaka heard the knock. Not one. 3 fast taps, like soldiers reporting for duty. She opened the door. Mama. Somto marched in like she owned the compound. Uju followed, dragging 2 Ghana must-go bags and chewing gum like it was her birthright. Where's the room we'll be using? Mama asked, already removing her slippers. No hello. No how are you? Amaka was pregnant morning and cried in the bathroom. Rest, but she charged at me like a mad dog. Before I could say Jesus, she slipped and fell. Uju added fuel. Brother, she was angry we didn't let her sneak out to see some man. Maybe the pregnancy wasn't even yours. Somto didn't know what to think. Amaka, bruised and broken, stared at her phone for hours waiting for his call. It didn't come that night. Or the next. But what Mama did before leaving, Somto had installed a hidden nanny cam in the living room. Not because he didn't